Hello, I'm Sandy Hollinger, Denver Shellsworth's mom. He's now 17, diagnosed when he was age 15. He's always been a sports-related child, and he loves playing and being in the outdoors. He started experiencing back pain in September of 2013. I took him to a couple of different doctors, and we thought since he was such a ball player and playing golf and playing around all the time that he was just experiencing growth pains and stuff. And so, the Saturday night after Christmas, of December 2014, I came home from my mom's house, and he was in bed with back pain and was crying, and he said, "Mom, I'm hurting so bad, I think I need to go to the ER." So we got dressed and went to the ER in Bay Minette in Alabama, and so when we got there, the doctor was thinking that it may have been kidney stones, but to later find out that he had a tumor resting on his spine. We were sent by ambulance from there to Women and Children in Mobile, and they ran tests on him for about 3 or 4 days, and we found out that Denver had neuroblastoma stage 4 cancer. We were very devastated. Emotions running wild. I didn't know what to think as a mom, and I didn't know what I would do at that point. Denver has always been very strong, and we had many family and friends that came by the hospital, and he said, "Mom, I'm going to get through this. I'm a fighter, and you know that I will."
Hello, I'm Carlos Prieto, and I'm here to tell you our story. In the summer of 2008, life was good. Me and my wife had been married for several years. We had a 5-year-old girl, Kayla, and a 2.5-year-old, Alex. And we were enjoying life, enjoying our children. On the day of Kayla's 5th birthday, my wife was always very diligent about doctor visits and so forth. So we got ready to go to just a regular doctor visit on her 5th birthday. While she was getting dressed, Grandma came over, as she usually does, and she noticed a small bump on Kayla's back. So she suggested we had it checked, and so we did. We went to the doctor. The doctor ordered an MRI, and consequently, she found something that she didn't like. We were called into her office, and she looked at us in the eye and said, "We found a large tumor on Kayla's back. Could be cancer." She said, "You need to go to Memphis, send you to Memphis, and you need to leave now." So our lives changed dramatically. Sometimes I think that our lives were turned upside down, but in reality, they were not turned upside down. We happened to be believers, and there was so much prayer and so much support from friends and family. I personally thought, okay, we're going to get through this.
So we had a family friend that wanted this gentleman to come by and visit with us, and he has been he's a St. Jude survivor, and he was a childhood cancer patient at St. Jude, and he wanted to come by and share his story with us. So he did, and there was a room full of people that day, and there was no dry in the place, and he shared with us his story. So Denver, that night when he and I were alone, Denver made the decision. He said, "Mom, I want to go to St. Jude." I later that night got on my laptop and just pulled up St. Jude, and there's a question box. And so I said, "My child has just been diagnosed and we want to get to St. Jude." Early the next morning, there was a staff person from St. Jude Hospital called me, and he said, "Miss Hollinger," he said, I've just read your what you posted on our webpage, and he said, we want to help. We want Denver to come to St. Jude. And he said, can I talk to your doctor, and is this the decision you want to make? And I said, certainly, this is what we want to do. And so he called our doctor. I gave him the information. He called our doctor, and within 3 days, we're at St. Jude. We started our journey at St. Jude. We arrived there, and in the middle of the night to the hospital, and from there, Denver's care started at St. Jude. He had many tests run. Where the tumor was resting on his spine, causing all the back pain. We were told earlier in Mobile that he would have to do chemotherapy before getting that removed. And he went from doing everything himself to being in a wheelchair, not able to do anything for him. So his dad and I had to bathe him, help him in and out of bed. And it was just very hard to see him go down so quickly. After he started his care at St. Jude, the surgeon, we met with him, and he said, look, I can get Denver out of this pain. And he said, let me go ahead and do back surgery on him to remove this. And so Denver, within a few days, Denver had surgery to remove the tumor off of his spine. And he was feeling much better in a matter of a few days.
So she immediately got in touch with the doctors at St. Jude. It took us 30 minutes to drive from the doctor's office to our house. And by the time we got to our house, we started getting phone calls from St. Jude telling us that they were aware of our situation, when we were coming in, what we needed to do, what we needed to pack, in all sorts of directions. And all of this information, this is all so overwhelming. So we set out to go to St. Jude, and the next couple of weeks were pretty intense. I didn't think we belonged there. You know, you just don't want your child to go through anything like that. I would have given anything, to change that situation. So the next 2 weeks were pretty difficult. Diagnosis, doctor visits, neurologist, all sorts of different doctor visits. And then at the end of the 2 weeks, we had diagnosis. Kayla had what is called a ganglioneuroblastoma. It's a solid tumor. It was wrapped around her spine. It was inside the spine, with a larger mass on the lower left abdomen. So 3 rounds of chemotherapy came by over the next 3 months or so. It was pretty difficult. Kayla never got really sick, but her hair started falling off and so forth, and that was a difficult time. After the chemotherapy, they decided to go in and do a surgery. So the attempt was to remove the entire tumor, and it was going to take 2 separate surgeries. Within a week or so, she had fairly delicate back surgery, and that removed the portion of the tumor that was wrapped around her spine, and it was inside the spine as well. And then a subsequent surgery, abdominal surgery, to remove the rest of it. So within a couple of weeks, she had been, her healing had begun.
He since then has went through so much. We've went through several rounds of chemotherapy, radiation, a stem cell rescue for his bone marrow. And the team there has just been amazing. I can't say enough about our team at St. Jude. The doctors have been so encouraging for us. The nurses, he's been in and out of the hospital several times, and the nurses would actually come in and say, we're fighting over you as our patient, and we want to have you as our patient for the day or for the next week, and just kind of lift Denver's spirits, because he's, that made him feel so loved. And Denver's not been placed in remission, but we have strong faith in God, and we know that we're going to get through this. We know our team of doctors and God is who we can trust and depend on. And I'm very thankful that we have chosen to be a patient since we were diagnosed at St. Jude. It's a blessing. And I thank God that our doctor, our main doctor, Dr. Furman, has been there for us. And we go back soon for scans, but I think it's assuring that God knows the plans for us, and the little kids that are at St. Jude, that there will be a cure one day for childhood cancer. Thank you.
Today, she is a happy 12-year-old, and life is once again good. I am happy to report that, and we enjoy our children. She's a very active young lady. She's a tremendous violin player. She likes playing other instruments as well, but the violin is her main instrument. And we're looking forward for the rest of our lives once again. There were two predominant thoughts in my mind. Number one, I wanted to get the best care for Kayla. And number two, I was concerned about how I was going to pay for it. And St. Jude was able to fulfill those two issues right away because we had the best care in the world for her. And, we'd never seen a bill from St. Jude. Yeah, that's incredible. And we are just so thankful. We are so thankful for St. Jude, for our friends, for our family. We couldn't have done this without them.
I'm Kayla. I'm 12 years old, and I've been a St. Jude patient for over 7 years.
Don't give up. It's just the weight of the world. When your heart's heavy, I will lift it for you. Don't give up, because you want to be heard. If silence keeps you, I will break it for you. Everybody wants to be understood. Well, I can hear you. Everybody wants to be loved. Don't give up, because you are loved. Don't give up. It's just the hurt that you hide.